Just about 2 weeks ago, Pocket Pair released a roadmap showing us what's to come in the future for Palworld. Now, lots of people have already covered the roadmap and what to expect from it. Those are really good ideas and theories. I think I'd rather talk about what I want and the community wants for Palworld that might not be on the roadmap. Everything on the roadmap looks great. I'm super glad to see them taking initiative and putting out all these updates and everything, but I think this could be a really good time for us to do some brainstorming, and I don't want to do this alone. Let me know what you guys want to see in Palworld and what you expect. As of right now, everything's going great. We have no reason not to love the game. Let's start growing ideas, and maybe if we come up with some good ones, we can manifest this into some reality, or Pocket Pair might hear. Reach out to them. Let them know what you expect from the game, what you want, because as anyone will tell you, it's always nice to have a helping hand with some great ideas. Pocket Bear knows that, I know that. Let's get into this. In Palworld, your party and your team are not just subject to doing one or two different kind of things. Sometimes you bring your pals around to fight, sometimes you bring them around to catch stuff or carry stuff, sometimes you do it to mine some ore. You know what would be great? Some sort of deck system. I think Fallout 76 does a good job with this. It's the only one I can really think of where you can have a different set of abilities and perks on at any time for you to switch through quickly without having to go through and change them all individually, which could be a process. It's not that difficult to do that in Palworld, but I do think that would be a nice quality of life if you had like 6 different squads or decks, whatever you want to call them, that you could switch at any moment so that you could just make life a little easier, a little quicker, and maybe a little bit more neat and tidy. This next one is for a lot of us that have reached past that like level 35 to 50 area, which is the higher level players. There are merchants in the game that offer some pretty standard stuff like bones and ammo, what have you, pals even. It would be great if there was some sort of high level trader that you could meet that would sell you stuff that matters at late game, say like ultra or legendary spheres, and they could come at a hefty price, because it can be fun grinding out all that stuff, but at the same time you've streamlined a way to get organs and all that and ammo, but daddy ain't got nowhere to buy his legendary spheres or nothing like that, and I gotta work my ass off to get those going, and sometimes I want to just sit down and play the game, but that's just me being lazy. That's why we enslave the animals and make them do all the work for us. Some of you may have noticed that some of the pals look similar to other pals. Take Penking and Pangolin, for example. Even their names are very similar. I thought, as many others did, that Penking was some sort of evolution to Pangolin when I started. Shouldn't we have evolutions? That would be cool. I mean, we don't necessarily have to do that right away. It would have to be like an integral part of the system, and maybe it's not possible, and maybe that's what gives Palworld another difference from other games similar to it. I won't say what yet, but you know what. But evolutions would be a cool idea. This one is less of like, I really want this, and more like, if they introduced it, it would be interesting, and it seems like maybe at some point that was probably an idea that they had. In Palworld, 2 Pokemon will have pleasurable event for you. What does that mean? Pleasure? I'm trying not to say the bad words. Why aren't I trying? If you give 2 pals some cake, they will fuck for you in Palworld, so that's great. Obviously, this game takes heavy inspiration from Pokemon and Arc and the way you breed in Pokemon, and there's a method in Pokemon for breeding that includes a Ditto. Now, all I'm saying is if we had something similar to Ditto in Palworld, that would be amazing. It should have been Lavander. Lavander makes so much sense for that. All that bitch wants to do is bone. So if we made Lavander Ditto, or any other like pal that's already available, or even a new one, make it like a Ditto type where you can breed it with anything and then shit out whatever that was, like a clone, that would be really exciting and I think a great idea. I don't hear anybody arguing otherwise, so just in case I didn't make that very clear, Ditto can breed with anything and create the offspring of what it bred with. The first time you play Palworld and you step out and you see these amazing areas filled with these crazy life forms and the trees and the grass and the mountains and the water, you're really taken back with how great they did building all of that. And it looks awesome, especially at a distance. But the more you play, you start to notice some areas could use a little bit more love. Minecraft is a good example of a game that over time looked at areas that needed significant upgrades. I think of them when I think of games that do a great job overhauling shit. I'm not sure if that's controversial. I'm not sure if there's still those old heads that are like, Minecraft should have stayed with just skeletons, zombies, and creepers. There's always going to be people like that. And I was around for that too. I played the alpha of Minecraft, and I freaking love where it is now. I love adding to stuff like that. But the way they went about like overhauling oceans and dungeons and things like that was awesome. Palworld should do something similar to that. The oceans could really use some love. A fishing minigame, boats. Boats seem like they're really missing. Boats and vehicles in general seem like they should be a part of this experience. Maybe not as much because you can just ride the pals and they probably want you to ride the pals, but it would be dope if you could just hit the seas with your boys, drink some beers or something. You know, it sounds fun. It does sound like a fun time. It's another adventure for you to go on with your friends, which is the best way to play Palworld. Another exploration idea, but something that's a little bit more ambitious that would take a lot of work that they would probably have to have been working on for some time now, would be some sort of other world, like a teleportation thing where you can go to like a heaven for pals. Well, that would be, imagine how messed up that would be if you could like kill your pals and go visit them in heaven or something, but it was like restricted to like the last 10 pals you killed. Now that would be hilarious. They're very good at their tongue-in-cheek and they know how humorous the game is and how goofy it is. Imagine if you could kill your pals and go to heaven and see them and there's this whole heaven biome or something. That's a little far-fetched, but teleporting to places that are like a scarier area like the depths below, or like a brand new biome that they don't want to fill out in the ocean, which I'm sure that's what they'll do, or just more fast travel spots in general. That's different and beside the point, but other worlds are always cool. You could weave that into a story and that could be interesting. About other islands, I think that's why they built the map the way they did. If you start exploring, you'll notice it's endless ocean. I have not seen how far that ocean goes. Maybe that's a video idea. Maybe. Don't tell anybody. Hey, bro, if you tell someone, and you better tell them I came up with that idea. I don't want to see that video get taken, okay? Don't do that to me. We should do that soon. But you'll notice the oceans just keep going and going and going forever and ever, no matter what. I think. I don't know. I got bored and the server crashed anyways and all that mumbo jumbo jazz. That's at least what I think. That's just a bit of a game theory. But I think the reason why they did that is so they could add more islands over time, more raids to get bosses, more creatures to collect and all that, yada yada. I think that's what they're doing. And I think that's a really good idea and that's a good way to stretch out those biomes. I guess that's more of a they should add this and more just praise for the right way of building a world like that. But there are other games like Ark where you can start in a different world entirely. That would be something cool to look into. Kind of like Generations, you know, Gen 1 is the first world, Gen 2 is a bunch of other different pals. Which brings me to my next thing. They have mentioned, at least I do remember reading, if I can find it, I'll put it right here, that they're looking to have a cross progression system that would allow you to travel from one server to the next, bringing all your pals, your inventory, stuff like that. That would be great. Now I hope they really think that through, because if you do that, you should have some sort of save base system where everything you build and that base you make, you could take it with you, similar to how Fallout 76 does. You pack it up, bring it with you. That would be awesome. I get it might be a little bit more difficult because we work within guilds, but you could come up with some sort of preset housing thing. That would be really cool. Basically, I'm saying I really want the cross progression to come sooner. It would be super fun to server hop from our community server to my single player server, so on and so forth. Have my single player be like its own inventory place where I could just take a bunch of stuff that I'm not using at the moment and keep it over there that's taking up space here. Well, I guess they'd have to expand the PAL box, which I assume they've thought about. It might be a little difficult, but that's just me being greedy. There's a lot of room in that PAL box, honestly. That's a lot of good ideas that they can pull from. But like I said, I want to know more. So don't be afraid to jump in the comments and mention what you think would be a great addition to Palworld or what direction they should go with the game. We're still new here. It's still only been about a month, if that even, maybe just still about 2-3 weeks. And who knows what's in store. They got the money now. They can have a bigger team. They can have more surprises. This could go and go and go and go and go and go. And it's super exciting. I'm so glad I got an opportunity to play this game at the very start and to have this kind of whimsical idea of where it could go. And even if it doesn't go anywhere and this is the base that we get, I could play this for hours and hours and hours. Just 3 sets of those hours, okay? We need more content. We're always going to need more content, man. We're jonesing. This is like you hooked in a community that is absolutely obsessed with big, badass Love-Ander. Specifically the male one. Bye!
Jesus, you gotta do it in style before that. There we go.
Do it in style. I got lots of style points for my suicide.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm like the first one that does it. It just takes a while for it to register every night.
Bro, somebody finishes first.
Right, dude. Every time.